Good morning, Panzers. It's Tuesday. So wow, today is like all the videos day. 3 videos in one day. We haven't had that in a while. So Nella, I thought your comments about Much Ado About Nothing were really interesting. I will say that the first time that you said Don John, somehow my ears heard Don John, but my brain heard Don Pedro, and I was like, huh, that is really interesting. And then you said Don John again, and I was like, oh wait, no, that makes more sense. In my defense, I am not a morning person, and it was morning when I watched the video. I think you're absolutely right about it being a lot about sexual paranoia, about Hero specifically. In fact, when I first became acquainted with Much Ado About Nothing, it was from the movie, with Emma Thompson and Kate Beckinsale. That was Kate Beckinsale's first movie, in fact, and every time I see Kate Beckinsale now, there's still a little tiny bit of my brain that's like, oh, that's Hero. Claudio makes me so angry as a character. Like, he's such a terrible, terrible human being, and he makes me so angry that literally for about 15 years, I could not watch Robert Sean Leonard in anything without becoming just completely overwhelmed with rage and staying that way every time he came on screen. It was very bad. In fact, I didn't get over it until I started watching House, and every time he came on screen, I had to consciously tell myself, like, it's okay, he's not Claudio, you don't have to be angry at him. And it took me 3 seasons to get over it and just be able to see him and not be mad. I realize that that is ridiculous. But Claudio he's such a terrible person. And it's interesting that you were talking about, like it's maybe not as much of a comedy as we kind of think it is. Because I love Benedict and Beatrice, and I love their part of the play, and I think it's very funny and entertaining. But the Hero Claudio subplot it's not really, I mean, it's kind of dressed up as like this happy ending, but Hero's reward for being a good person and being steadfast and true is that she ends up with Claudio, who is horrible and who treats her horribly. I feel bad for her. Every time it comes to the second wedding scene, I think she is in a miserable life. I think it's a really interesting play. I don't know, I think there's a lot in it that is very interesting from a modern standpoint. Like, I think Beatrice, in a lot of ways, is an extremely modern character. I mean, like, there's that bit where Beatrice makes a joke about how Hero is obligated to do what her father tells her to, but, for all that, let him be a handsome fellow or else make another courtesy and say, Father, as it please me. And I know it's a joke, but it's kind of a subversive joke. Like, there's this little, like, needle in it. Like, sure, do what your father wants you to do, but only if it's really what you want to do. And then Leonardo tells Hero, knowing that Hero is in love with Claudio, mind you, that if Don Pedro proposes to her, she is basically obligated to say yes. And Hero just goes with it. Like, she's, she doesn't even think about saying, no, I want to marry someone else, because her dad told her to, Practically immediately after that scene, Don Pedro proposes to Beatrice, who just says no immediately without, any consideration of what Leonardo thinks, which is really interesting because we're never really told what kind of authority he has over Beatrice. Like, she's his niece, and she's clearly been living with him for at least a year because she says so. When Hero is accused, she says that thing about, I have this 12-month in her bedfellow. So, like, I don't know where Beatrice's parents are in all of this, but Leonardo seems to be functioning as a kind of guardian, and she has absolutely no intention of going to him for anything. Like, she figures she's her own woman and she makes her own decisions, and no one seems to expect anything else of her, which I think is really interesting. I don't think that's what we, expect from a play that was written at this time period. And it's really interesting. Everyone in the play treats Beatrice like she is her own person, which is completely opposite of how they treat Hero. They treat Hero like she is a child to be coddled and told what to do. I think it's a really interesting aspect of the play. I feel like I've been talking for a really long time now. Maybe I should, move on. Oliver, I'm really looking forward to seeing your project. When I looked, it wasn't up yet, so either you haven't uploaded it yet or you uploaded it sometime between the time that I looked and now. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I will describe it for Phoebe as best I can. How is nano prep going for those of you who are nano prepping? I'm having some sort of trouble with mine. I'm working on a story that I originally started working on for camp and that I just abandoned because it was terrible and I was having a hard time with it and everything was bad. And so I started working on that again, on the plotting for that again, because it's going to have some sort of complex bits, I think. And I, I, I don't know what to do with it. I've gotten a little ways into it, and I don't know what to do with it. Phoebe says she is also nano prepping and is planning to do nano this year, so that's exciting. I will try to keep her updated on what we're doing, and so that hopefully we can all kind of nano together, even though she's not really online much. So yeah, this is like a really long video now, I feel. So I'm gonna go, and I will see you guys soon, I hope. And don't forget to be awesome.